welcome everybody to our weekly energy talk. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy healer, energy coach, and visionary. And today I want to guide you through these energies that we all feel, that we can't see, but that we all understand as part of our reality. And as we're walking through all this, I would like to dive a little deeper into the aspect of faith. It is very easy in times like this where we see things happening in this world that are hitting us hard in our humanness, that are hitting us hard in our empathy, to lose faith. To lose faith in what? So this is what I would like to discuss with you guys today, because when we talk about faith, we are obviously thinking about religion, we're thinking about things that we have been programmed with, but I think it's time that we investigate the true meaning of faith and why this has been something that has been accompanying humans throughout the history, at least for as long as we know, and what it can do for us when we understand it truly. What does faith mean for you guys? What do you associate with faith? Believing, Tina, I love that. Yes, what else? There are some things that come up in us when we think of faith. Resort to the things that we were told at first, but there's more. Yes, Linda, trust that everything is the way it should be. And that's difficult sometimes, right? Right now, I don't know how you feel, but when you look at news or listen to other people sharing about how their lives are going, what is happening to them, maybe the most recent years, when you look at those, like what is going on here, it's difficult to trust, isn't it? So is trust and faith and believe, are those the same things? This is what I would like to discuss with you today. Yes, it's very challenging right now. But Linda, it's interesting that you say it requires a constant refocus. When you refocus, when you notice that your faith is compromised, what do you refocus on? Would you like to share, or anybody? Where do you guys go to reset or refocus or sort of realign yourself?
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi. It is quite scary because I've investigated it and people have had a really bad time. Mm-hmm. So it's been quite shocking. And the faith and trusting and all that quickening and stuff came, but I've kind of found a way to keep resolving things within myself. And I've just had to keep believing that I can keep doing that and keep finding ways that are not intrusive on the other person or myself. So I kind of feel like I can be in the ego or whatever in that moment with that person and hold the space. Mm-hmm. And then I noticed I can come home back to myself and not go into catastrophe. And that is huge for me.
I mean, that's providing that you're actually talking to somebody, right?
Yes, real people.
And I want to say one thing here to you and everybody listening.
Yeah.
That in and of itself is actually the first action step that we can take. Yeah. So it is really easy to forget what makes us human, to forget what is the power that is in each and every one of us, and the power of connection. Yeah, communicating with another, sharing with another.
I didn't run away from the connection, which my past self would have, especially with everything that I could be triggered in my life easily. I was able to hold myself without anything, and I felt sad, but it left, and then I felt empowered and safe that I could do that again.
This is something, Sean, that you're mentioning here right now, that I want all of you guys to take note of. Yeah, it's that moment where you have to overcome a little bit of inertia inside of yourself, because when you feel sad or when you feel heavy, this is, I'm kind of assuming that that's what you're referring to. You feel the need to kind of go within and to stay with yourself. But if you can overcome that by sharing that, by connecting with somebody, by talking to someone, even reading something or listening to a video or a podcast or coming to online events such as this, can already help to reinstate something. And maybe it's not the trust in ourselves right away, but it is, when you hear somebody else talk, when you hear somebody else share their story, how they overcame something, right? How they overcame maybe those things that you just mentioned, these catastrophes of the last 2 years that so many people have experienced, how that can activate something within ourselves. So there's something practical about this here. Yeah, faith, apart from this general understanding of religion and church and all that, yeah, is something that has to do with human connection. Yeah, and I love how you just shared this with us, what it feels like when you do. Something that I want all of you to remember in moments where you want to throw the towel, where you want to give up on faith. Yeah, it's one thing to feel that way for yourself. Yeah, and we're going to address faith in self here in a moment, but it's another thing to lose faith in, let's say, everything there is. So our ego has that tendency to generalize everything. Yeah, it's hard for us, if we can see a solution for ourselves, to believe that there are any other solutions out there. It's hard for us to see sense or purpose or meaning in something if we can't find it for ourselves, that anybody else could find it. And that's where, fundamentally the power of congregation, the power of connecting comes from. It's in that moment when when we're in the presence with other people, as we are right now, where we realize, okay, it may not just be me, so we all know that these are kind of challenging times, but other people have different perspectives, they have different approaches, and they have different solutions. And maybe by just listening to someone, I can tap into something, that allows me to reframe and to recenter my world or my worldview or my life view. Thank you for sharing this with us. It's fundamentally what we're doing here and why we do these energy talks. We're talking about things that we're all aware of, but that are difficult to prove, that cannot be seen, which is something that connects us all here. We believe in energies. The truth is, everything is energy. This isn't just a tagline or anything. We already know this. Science already knows this. So the next step to that, without contextualizing it with any form of spiritualism or mysticism or teaching per se, is to recognize that us seeing ourselves as energetic beings is already a form of faith. We are believing that there is something in us, that exists, let's say side by side or simultaneously with, what we perceive as our ego or our psyche or our personality. And talking about it, that's why energy talks are actually very healthy. Can help us to recenter, to reframe, or to come back to that, to feel it again. Someone here said, I think it was Linda, to go into your heart, to drop into your heart. Yes, I like that. There is the word of surrender here, and the the choice to see something in a different way, choosing to believe. Yeah, I'm a big fan of X-Files, and I always loved that tagline that X-Files had. I don't know if you guys remember this show. I choose to believe. So that's something that brings back sort of the mind here, yeah, that there's something about the power of our mind. And I want to go a little deeper into this with you here now, but I want to read your comments. Yes, Janet says that I have lost some faith with some of the choices that I have made. And this is something that refers to you, the faith in yourself. But if those are the right choices, yeah, maybe they are, you don't know this yet, you haven't fully lived all the consequences of those choices, yeah, and if you push through the challenges that come with it, yeah, then you may be able to see that there is one thing in you that can answer that. There's this one thing, yeah, this power of you believing in something, you having faith in something, you standing for something. I called those the principles or the virtues that we align ours to. When life gets really hard, the only thing that we can resort to, guys, is in our essence. And that is what we need to be able to answer for ourselves. We need to answer for ourselves what our essence is if we want to find faith in ourselves. Yeah, we can do this for churches, we can do this for teachers or authors or whatever it is that we choose to align ourselves, right? What's the essence of Catholic Church? Or what's the essence of Buddhic beliefs? Or what's the essence of, I don't know, certain authors or whatever? And that is then what you align yourself to. When we lose faith in ourselves, we lost the connection to our essence. We lost the connection to what we are. And here's where everything is energy, yeah? Seeing ourselves as an energetic being can help us. Do we understand, do we feel ourselves in the way that our ego mind judges it, portrays it, yeah, which is mostly what we hear through our critical inner voice, through all these ego defenses that we have in life, yeah, and if so, which many of us do, and that there's nothing wrong with that, but if so, what do these ego defenses, what do these personality things, these inner words, what do they express? What do they stand for? If you feel tortured by a voice that says, "Oh, nothing works. There's nothing I can do. Everything I do is wrong. What's even the purpose of it?" Yeah, if this is something that you hear in the back of your head, what is the essence of that? What is the energy of that? Yeah, so as energy worker, as energy coach, this is fundamentally what I teach. I ask people, so I'm not judging any of the mindsets, any of the beliefs or any of the thoughts that you're having, but let's investigate what they actually mean, what the essence of that is. And if you actually, with your conscious mind, subscribe to it, if this is really what you want to believe in. Yes, Linda, if you hear sentences like, "Oh, everything I do is wrong, nothing works, I can't do anything, I'm a victim, or I'm not good enough, or yes, the essence of that is defeat. And if you go a step deeper, what's the essence of defeat? What's the essence of defeat? What stands underneath defeat? What are you signing up for if you allow your mindset, and with it the belief system that comes with that, to be your faith? What is the essence of defeat? Paralysis, so like not being able to do anything, right? Not being able to change it. Correct? That's how we feel like when we're paralyzed. Powerlessness. Powerlessness. So as you are following me here through a typical energy coaching procedure, yes, Tina, exactly. You got it. What do you see when you, with this clarity that you have right now, when you investigate the nature, the true nature, the essence of what you are allowing yourself to believe in? Yes, it's a giving up, a powerlessness, and a victimhood. Okay? So these words, these beliefs, these imageries of powerlessness, victimhood, paralysis, to stand there as the framework that you believe in, you are making a choice in that moment. Unconsciously, of course, because if we were conscious, we wouldn't do it, right? If I told you every single time you feed yourself with a sentence that goes like, I can't do this, there's nothing I can do, or you freeze, or you say, there's no, point in doing this, basically every time you say to yourself, you justify to yourself why you can't do anything, you are subscribing to the faith of powerlessness. So where you are here with me right now, is that really what your faith is? Is that what you believe in? The clear thinker in you, the clear I am or self-aware part of you, the conscious soul self, do you really believe that? That you are powerless? That none of what you are bringing into this world has any meaning or would make a difference? That is the faith that is propagated through our societies right now. I just wrote an article about the confusion between pain and love, and I talk about victimhood there and how our societies reward victimhood. It's the faith of powerlessness. No, of course you don't believe that. Right now you can sense that, you can feel that within you, that's not who you are. You don't believe in powerlessness. You may not believe fully that you are powerful, but you're definitely not believing in powerlessness. How could you? It's not possible to believe in powerlessness if you believe that there is a higher power or that there is some kind of, divine intelligence or plan or order or whatever that has brought all this life into existence. It's not possible. So you have to work with your mind and your higher thinking to prove to yourself that that is a false belief, that that is a false faith, and that you cannot allow yourself to let this stand there, to let these words in your head exist, to allow yourself to align yourself to this and to live according to this. You may not have the solution. You may not know how to step in your power. That's okay. We'll get to that in a minute. But yes, but don't degrade yourself. Don't facilitate that. In religions and spirituality, we have a word for this force that tricks and deceives and misguides you to believing that you are powerless. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about darkness. I'm talking about evil or dark forces. That is the objective of darkness, energies, if you will, to make you believe that you are powerless. And I do not disagree that our ego can sometimes become a mouthpiece of that. But Linda, you are mistaken if you believe that the ego is evil or dark. The ego is not evil or dark. The ego is the fail-safe. It's your autopilot. Which means that if you don't have a clear insight, that you have felt through and thought through yourself all the way through, you will resort to what your ego, what that sort of automatic, programmed, conditioned, voice in you says. And just because it gives you fear, as you're sharing here, also doesn't mean that it's dark. It's only dark or becomes a dark choice if you believe that that fear is all there is. Fear, guilt, even pain and victimhood, shame. Those are feelings that we don't like to feel, but they're not dark. They're part of our existence. They help us to find a higher expression. If we do something and we regret it because we can feel from within our own virtues that this doesn't represent or didn't really go along with what we stand for, yes, then we will feel guilt. And what will this guilt do to us? It will hold us to our higher standards. It will remind us, when we come into the next situation, say to not lie or to not cheat or to not do whatever it is that we're feeling guilty for. That is not dark in its essence. It is a temporary discomfort that we want to avoid, and therefore a very important signal. It's a signal that helps us to find our higher expressions. It's the same with pain or fright. These are very, very important signals because they show us what not to do. What doesn't make us feel like we are in power. So we use these signals to navigate through life and form a roadmap. The only problem with that is that most of us don't do this in a conscious way. We do this in an unconscious way. We do this in an ego way. And that is the way of conditioning. In other words, we do something or choose to do something once and maybe it didn't work out the first time. And then we experience something like shame or something like regrets or something like victimhood. And then we form a belief around this that says, oh, opening your heart, becoming vulnerable, or trying to do something that expresses who you truly are, or starting a business, or doing things on my own doesn't work. Based on one experience or based on the response from others, based on judgments that come in from the outside. All that is called conditioning, guys. Yeah? So to break through our lack of belief and with it faith in ourselves, we need to go all the way to the essence of things and ask ourselves, wait, hang on. What is it that we truly stand for here? I choose to believe in truth. I choose to believe in the good and in the beautiful. I choose to believe in the power of the human soul. I choose to believe in higher power. That's neither conditioned, nor religious, nor anything. Just because it doesn't always work, just because I have experienced things, and trust me, it's my job, to help people work through these dark things within themselves. I've seen it. I've experienced it myself. Doesn't mean that I have no faith in them, or in truth, or in the good. I choose to believe in truth. I choose to believe in love. I choose to believe in freedom, regardless. And right here, guys, the regardless makes the difference. Because if I just say, oh yeah, those are all good things, I believe in all these values, I should be nice to people, I should be kind, I should share things with others, I should, help others and all that, it's not enough. You have to adjust it to the reality that you are creating. And if you end up in toxic relationships, if you end up in work situations where you feel taken advantage of, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your belief. It just means that you haven't learned how to navigate this right. Because if you blindly trust, if you have a blind faith, meaning if you don't actually look at what is displayed to you and you're not really adjusting to this, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Then you're setting yourself up for experiencing powerlessness. So it's not enough to just have a faith. What you believe in, what you trust in, what you choose as your virtues needs to be felt, needs to be sensed, needs to be thought. You have to make it a conscious choice. And if your life isn't lining up with that, if it doesn't match up with your beliefs, then you need to go back and ask yourself, what about your belief isn't realistic? Then you're dealing with some practical aspects of this, how you are expressing that. Most of you empaths have been traumatized, have been taken advantage of, have been betrayed, and all this. A lot of people have been betrayed and taken advantage of. But you in particular And that is why I talk to empaths and highly sensitive people, because there is such a crisis of faith with wanting to believe. You assume that everybody believes in those virtues, in those values. And that is not the case. But just because not everybody, I mean, yes, granted, I give you that, it's 85% of people in this world believe in other things. Yeah, like dog eats dog, self-gain. That's the reality that we're facing. But just because not everybody believes in that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your belief or with the virtues through which you try to express those. Where you lose the power of faith is when you mismatch that, when it's displaced. There's the problem with New Age and wokeness, guys. One of the hallmarks of people like that we would call sociopaths is that they are very charming, is that they have a lot of personality traits that pull us into, sort of their energy field. If you try to understand that, if you try to use that as a measure stick for whether or not you can have faith in humans, it's not realistic. Because when you're talking or when you are trying to understand someone who has fundamentally different beliefs than you, which, by the way, you can test. You can test this in humans, what their beliefs are. Yeah, and I'm not talking about psychological tests, I'm talking about simple empathy tests. You can test if somebody has the same values as you through simply asking them to walk in somebody else's shoes. And if they are not able to do that, then you need to question that. You need to question if you can trust in that person. If you are willing to lose faith in humanity based on some experiences that you had with some people, and yes, again, statistically, 8 out of 10 people will probably feel that way, that you can't trust them. But that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with your virtues, with believing in the good, believing in truth, believing in the beautiful out there. It just means that you haven't learned the practical aspect of aligning this to when it's appropriate and when it's not. And especially with yourself. So in other words, to find faith in yourself, just like how you would do this with, say, trying to find out if you can trust another person, you have to feel into the essence of yourself. When things get tough, when you want to throw the towel, you need to remind yourself of those virtues that you stand for. That's how you can reset this. That's how you can find faith again. So the difference between today's spirituality and maybe 1,000 or 2,000 or even longer ago is that we have the ability, due to just, how humanity has evolved, to spend more time with actually thinking things through for ourselves. We have the ability, due to our energetic sensitivity now, to actually feel into things ourselves. So what we need to learn is to apply that. We need to learn to apply our clear sensing, our clear feeling, clear thinking, and clear perceiving And as a consequence of that, you will become able to feel the essence or energy, as I say, of a thought, of a movie, of a person, of a thing, a tree, a book, or even something more abstract like a teaching or, a belief. That is why you are energetically sensitive. The purpose of you feeling all of this. But it's not just a feeling thing, and it's not just a thinking thing. It is a sensing, feeling, perceiving, and thinking thing. So mindfulness is not referring to expressing the deeper understanding, the empathy, and the care for something. And that is probably the simplest way how I can contextualize faith for you. Namely, it is what you care for the most, what you energize through, where you allow your mind to go, what you subscribe to. So whether you do this consciously or not, your words, your thoughts create reality. And if you are not aware, if you are unconscious of those words that you carry around with you, these critical inner voices, these belief systems, those all come in statements. Life is hard, no pain, no gain, those kind of things. If you allow them to stand there, and if you allow your ego to use them as defenses or justifications, then you are subscribing to that faith. And there's an etheric reality to this that I don't want to go deeper into. Please watch all the other videos on my YouTube channel about darkness and how to overcome fear and how to overcome this heaviness in us that we often feel when we want to lose faith. This etheric reality is then fundamentally how your energy expresses in the sort of more multidimensional aspect of yourself. Because the moment you begin to see yourself as an energetic being, you also have to see the world as an energetic dimension. And as soon as you do that, it becomes more clear. I mean, one has to learn the dynamics of that. It's not rocket science, okay? You just have to have the awareness of that to understand how dangerous it is to not know what you are believing in. Or better say, what you're unconsciously subscribing to. So the power of faith, guys, is the power to be aware and to consciously choose what you want to believe in. I choose to believe in truth. I choose to believe in love. I choose to believe in the good. I choose to believe in the divine plan that is playing out in my life and in this world. And in that way, you have subscribed your energy to believing in yourself, faith in yourself. So Janet, when you're standing at a crossroads, you may not have the answers. You may not know what the best course of action is. But you can know what it is that you believe in. But be mindful of how you apply it. Because when you're dealing with people who have a different mindset, a different belief, a different faith, you cannot act like it. You have to find a solution on that level. that these people function on. So this is why we experience this wobble in our faith, because we walk out there in this world and we understand all these things about virtues and positivity and so forth, but we're not realistic about it. Realizing that the environment, that the conditions that we're in are not such that we can do this with every person. Yeah, because there's a lot of person who consciously or unconsciously subscribe to the faith of darkness and hatred. And that's your job now, guys, as awakening soul selves, as conscious soul selves, to make sure what faith you are subscribing to. Many years I've called this time that we're in right now bifurcation. It is a crossroads, a bigger crossroads, in which we choose what we believe in. For the first time in humanity, we actually have that opportunity to consciously choose. Why? Because we have the ability. We didn't have the ability. They didn't have a high enough consciousness level. 100, 200,000 years ago. Now we do. It's only 20% of us who can see it already, but that's enough. So I hope that this brought some clarity. I know that when we talk about these things, they're often circular. Yeah. If you want to have this in a more systematic way, come to my Sacred Self-Healing course or any of the other courses that are very systematic. Thank you for your time. Yeah, and please share those videos that are all ending up on my YouTube channel. Thank you to those of you who are sharing these here in those live talks, and see you soon, guys. Bye-bye.